I've got the recipe for you. This dip is just amazing. It just melts in your mouth. Ooh. Bon appetit. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. I'm joining you today from downtown Augusta at the Augusta Exchange Club Fair. And you know, it's everybody's favorite time of year, the rides, the games, the fun, but the food is the best part. So today we're going to take our traditional favorites at the Carnival and turn them into home recipes. We're going to start with our take on a Philly steak, which is a delicious calzone loaded with meat and cheese. And then what about sweet potato fries that are loaded with everything but the kitchen sink? And then our take on a caramel apple is going to be a caramel apple upside down cake. And then finally, what about cinnamon rolls that are made into little mini waffles with a great drizzle? And in Vera's Corner today, I'm going to give you some tips on how to be ready for those out-of-town guests over the holidays. So as much as I hate to leave all of this, we've got some work to do. Let's get cooking. You know, I just love the Carnival food. I've already shown you that. So just to be able to recreate some of these recipes so that you can enjoy this all the time is what we're going to do today. So these are the calzones, and honestly, it is just such a good dish and really easy to make, fun. You can bring your kids in with you in the kitchen to do this. So we had a little bit I did ahead. I went ahead and melted my butter, and then I've added in my chopped up Vidalia onions, and then I love Montreal seasoning. It's just a really great overall good seasoning to use for this, especially if you're using beef. So the next ingredient is my boar's head deli beef. So I'm just going to add that in just to get that hot through. This of course is fully cooked, and I just want to get that nice and hot so that the cheese will melt when we do this. All right, so I'm just going to let that sit just a minute, and we're going to come over here to the pizza part of this. And this is Pillsbury pizza dough. It's just really easy to use. It just works really well. And what I've done here is cut it into 4 pieces. So we're going to be folding these over in half. So I'll put a little bit of flour on my parchment paper to make this easier when I get ready to fold it over. So what we're going to do here, since I'm making 4, I love, this is the home economics teacher coming out in me. I love to make sure that I've got even amounts. So I'm just going to take my spatula here and make my 4 components that are going so that I don't slight anybody when we put these together. All right, so that's ready to go. All right, so now let's start building. I can't wait. So we're going to start with American cheese. And I've just taken each slice and cut it into 4 pieces. All right, then grab a spoon, and I'm just gonna take my little part, my 1/4 of an amount. Oh, I just love the way this smells. And honestly, if you've never used that Montreal seasoning, I highly recommend it, even on steak. It's really great, hamburgers. And this is going to be nice and full and fat when we get ready to cut it. All right. So then the next thing is my provolone cheese. And now we're ready to crimp it over. So I've got a little bit of water there, and I'm just going to wet the sides so that it sticks together really well. Now I can see my granddaughter Lucy or McClendon, either one, being in the kitchen with me doing this. It would be so much fun. So now we're just going to swing that right over. And see, the dough is so pliable that you can just make it work. Now let's grab a fork and we're going to crimp. So that's just a matter of making sure that everything stays inside. And these are just wonderful. You know, these can be made ahead and can just be in the refrigerator waiting for you. Okay, so the last step here is an egg wash that's going to go on the top. And then we're going to load it down with a little kosher salt. I just love the way that looks. And you could personalize these, do something kind of cute on the top. And we've got some grated Parmesan. We used to call this spaghetti cheese when I was little. All right, so now this, once I've got all this pan done, that's gonna go in the oven, but there's a wonderful sauce that goes with this that I wanna mix up real quick. And it's mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, and then you know we all have our little honey bears. So we're gonna squeeze in a little bit of that. And you just mix that together. That's gonna be your dipping sauce. But I wanna show you what it looks like. So let me grab what I've done out of the oven real quick. Ooh, these look great. Okay, so let's see what these look like on the inside. Oh man, this is gonna be wonderful. So see, you can just lay these on your board and have those ready to go. We've got some yummy filling on the inside. All right, so I'm gonna keep working to get some more of these in the oven for my family. And when we come back from the break, we're gonna get started on a loaded sweet potato fry that is scrumptious. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us, we're doing carnival food today. I've just enjoyed being at the carnival myself, and I know all of you have your own carnivals in your community. So these are loaded sweet potato fries. This is such a great snack, wonderful for tailgating or just watching the football game, but it's just an amazing way to demonstrate how you can make something beautiful that doesn't take but a minute to do. So we started with frozen sweet potato fries. And what I did here was just loaded them up with a seasoning that is amazing. It's Lane's Barbecue's Sweet Heat. It is so good. And I really put quite a bit of that on there. So I've gotten a batch done out of the oven and onto my tray. And so now I'm gonna add these in. They don't take very long to cook, but this is just a really great way to put some stuff together. I think that's warm enough now. I can just do that quickly with my hands. But let me tell you a little bit about this company that we're working with today. Fickles is the name of the company, and that's where the seasoning came from and some of the other ingredients that I'm using today. But it's just a great little husband and wife story that he was a contractor, and in 2008, when things started going south, she made pickles and his name was Phil, so that's where the name of the company came from. We've got the website up and we want you to learn more about them. But the dipping sauce that goes with this is also something that's really good and unique. It's mayonnaise, sour cream. It uses Hidden Valley Ranch dip mix, about 2 tablespoons of that. So I'm gonna add that in. And then this is another one of their great products, is this peach jam. It's just wonderful, and I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons of that in there as well. And this dipping sauce with, you know, the heat from the other part of it and that little bit of sweet, this is so good. So just blend that up and just, you know, a nice bowl to put that in. So let's start loading up. Oh, I forgot the best part, the sriracha. A little bit of this goes a long way. Got some heat to it, but it's got a great flavor. All right, so let's start loading these up. I'm gonna put some cheddar cheese. And you wanna sprinkle it all the way around so you've got plenty to go. And the next ingredient I love, but everybody doesn't, is blue cheese. So you can leave that off if you like. But again, that just adds a different element of color. Some chopped green onions. I mean, is it looking good or not? And then we've got some crumbled bacon. And you could get kind of crazy with this. You could use some flavored bacon. You could use applewood smoked. This is just regular crispy bacon. And now I'm gonna drizzle this sauce on the top. Spare me, spare me. I know that y'all are going to make this recipe, and as always, our recipes are available on our website at VeryVera.com. And then my last ingredient is the jalapeno peppers. All right, so in Vera's Corner today, we're going to go over some tips about what to do when you've got guests coming, and then we're going to get started on an apple upside down cake that will remind you of those caramel apples you get at the fair. So come back with us in just a few minutes. You know, as we approach the holidays, lots of us will be expecting out-of-town guests, and the thought can be a little bit daunting. So here are some of my favorite tips for what to do when you've got guests coming in. Have a tray of refreshments out when guests arrive. There's a good chance they'll be ready for a snack and a drink when they come in, especially if they've just gotten off a plane. Keep treats out in the open for grab-and-go snacking. Most guests are going to want to connect to the internet immediately, so make sure to have Wi-Fi information handy. A simple card in the guest room is all you need. Help your guests feel at home by making essentials easy to find. Put extra toilet paper and toiletries in an easy to find location so that they don't have to go looking. Have a meal game in place, depending on whether it's an old friend visiting or a relative just using a room while they're in town. Determine ahead of time when you'll be expected to be sharing meals and when your guest is on their own. Keep a power strip by the bed so that they will have enough outlets for all of their gadgets. Leave a carafe of water and some glasses by the bed in case your guests need a beverage to take medicine at night. This keeps them from wandering around in the kitchen before bed. Finally, I love to put out flowers wherever I can. A simple bud vase with some clippings from your yard brightens up any room and lets your guests know that you're glad they're there. Keep these tips in mind the next time you have guests in your home. Okay, well, I know if I had out-of-town guests and I had this caramel sauce simmering on top of my induction cooktop, they would be able to smell it all over the house. It is amazing. So we're getting ready to get started on the caramel apple upside down cake, which is a twist on the Carnival food that we all love, which is a caramel apple. So what I went ahead and did was I melted a stick of butter, brown sugar, and you're going to have to stir it for a few minutes to get it incorporated. So just take your time and let that all come together, and it's going to get really nice and brown incorporated. And then back away when you get ready to add the vanilla, because it's going to pop a little bit. But that's what gives it that wonderful caramel vanilla flavor that is just great. All right, so let's get this cake going. We've gone ahead and creamed the butter and brown sugar, and it's ready to go. So let me just get that whipping up again. And now I'm going to start adding my wet ingredients. So I've got 2 eggs. I'm just going to do those one at a time. And unlike the VeryVera cakes that are in my cookbook, this mixes up pretty quick. You don't have to cream anything for 20 minutes like you do with our cakes. Now I'm going to just add in my whole milk and vanilla and let that incorporate for just a few minutes. And then I'm going to get all my dry ingredients together. So I've got baking powder, and then I've got cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. So those are all the aromas and the flavors that we love this time of year. All right, so now I'm going to just mix that in. And so I've also gone ahead and cut my apples very thinly. You can use a mandolin or you can just use a sharp paring knife. And that's going to be, you know, on our traditional pineapple upside down cakes, you know, you have all of that going in with it. So let's just whip this up just to get it good and incorporated. And then the other ingredient that I'm going to put in there that I'm so excited about is one of the newer products from Hershey, who of course is one of our wonderful partners, and those are the sea salt caramel chips that are just awesome. It's going to really bring the flavor together on this. So let's get all, this is when was my favorite part, and I know you're not probably supposed to eat this batter, but I love this. I still love to lick the batter. It's just terrific. All right. So now I want to fold these ingredients in because you don't want them to get too mixed in. All right, so that's ready. Now we're going to build this thing. So let's put the caramel sauce in the bottom. Ah, so scrumptious. Just whip that around. All right, so now we'll add in these apples. And if you had nothing but time, you could put them in there very technically done. But for this, we're just gonna throw them around. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the batter on top. And because this batter is kind of thick, I'm just gonna do spoonfuls at a time, and then I can spread it around. Oh, it's just, oh, this is so, you know, what a cool dessert to say you're having in the fall, that you're doing a caramel apple upside down cake. That just sounds awesome on a menu. Okay, so I'm gonna get this in the oven. It's gonna go on 325 for about 45 minutes. And during the break, I'm gonna invert the one that I'm getting ready to pull out so you can see what it looks like. So come back with me in just a few minutes. We're gonna make some cinnamon roll waffles on a stick. I'm killing you today. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Okay, so today we have put a new spin on Carnival food. You know, we started at the fair and we've looked at all of our favorite choices when we go, and then we've come back to the kitchen and made a lot of these with a different kind of a twist to it. So I certainly hope that you'll go to our website at VeryVera.com and try some of these recipes this fall. All right, so during the break, I got that cake switched out, one in the oven, one out of the oven. I put my plate on top, and then you just kind of hold your breath and flip it over, and then just lift that pan slowly, and all that caramel just was dripping everywhere, and those apples, it just looked fantastic. So it makes a beautiful presentation. It can be served warm with ice cream on top. It's just delicious. All right, so now, how many of you have always had those Pillsbury cinnamon rolls on hand? If it's Saturday morning, if the kids are kind of crabby and you want to do something special for them, you know, you pop that can and you get those things in the oven. You know, for us, the best part was the icing. But how about if for something special, you made them in a waffle iron? So what you do is you get them out of the container, and then you just want to take a knife and cut them into fourths. And this, obviously, the old school waffle iron here had to get a little bit of dust off of it to do this today. But we've got it well seasoned with some cooking oil. Now you're going to take each of those fourths and you're just going to sit them right in the center. Oh, I love that sizzle sound. I mean, they are going to be so excited. Grandchildren, children, girls having a sleepover, they would love this. All right, so you know the icing that comes with it that I just described, I've got a little bit of milk. All I want to do here is get that pliable enough that you can use it as a dipping sauce instead of icing. And that's just a different technique. You could actually just use the icing as it is, but this is just a little something different. And then what about taking them once they're done and skewering on popsicle sticks? What a fun treat. And you could lay those on a platter and just take that and drizzle all the way over it. It would be fantastic. So these take a couple of minutes in the waffle iron, but again, it's just using an already purchased food to make something unique and different with it. So today we've shown you how to take easy foods and make them something spectacular. And you know, it's all about the environment. When you go to the fair, the environment is the fact that you're there with with all the sounds and the sights and the smells. And maybe that caramel apple tastes a little bit different because of where you are. So do the same thing at home. Come up with a beautiful presentation. Think of different ways to serve it. Come up with something unique. If you're having people over this fall, what a great thing to do for the kids for dessert. Let's check on these real quick. Oh, they're just perfect. All right, so I want you to come back with me next week. We're going to be celebrating veterans next week on the show. And as I always say on the Vera show, no matter what you do, do it in good taste. I've given you a lot of tasty treats today, and I hope you'll join me again next week.